Hush Baiman. Yes, it did arrive like this. I didn't sit on it or anything. I don't know if Baiman has been fighting crime in Gotham in his package, as it's about as battle damaged as you can imagine. What the hell I mean did every play football with this bloody thing before delivering it to me? Well, regardless, has Baiman survived his journey from Gotham City to my address? Let's find out! Grab some bat snacks, same bat time, same bat channel on Taktak Toys. Yes! And if you're an inbox collector, you're probably having a heart attack watching this. I mean, I imagine there aren't many inbox CT Toys collectors, but has the figure suffered in his crush packaging? Well, we will find out. Spoilers, he was just fine. So ideally CT Toys and every should deliver your package with some more care compared to mine. I must be on some kind of hit list in China or something. Well, let's take a look at the crushed top of the box, and there's the name Hush Baiman and a pic of the figure. It's less Hush Baiman, more Crush Baiman. Maybe that's what happened at the factory. There was a loss in translation, and the message "send out Hush Baiman" was miscommunicated to send out Crushed Baiman. Then we get a nice look at the crushed side of the box, some lovely artwork of Crush Baiman, that's going to be my new nickname for this figure. And a look at the back of the box where we see Crush Baiman in all sorts of lovely poses. This is number 126, which I think is a nod to the Mafex Hush Batman release. And I haven't exactly had the best luck with CT Toys with the last two releases. CT Toys Gambit neck peg broke when I tried to switch heads, and now I get a figure that's been packaged using a steamroller. But that's fine. Ironically, it came really well encased in bubble wrap. Not that it helped much, ha ha ha. So I think we hilariously have to rate the packaging 1 out of 10. It's actually really nice packaging. I've seen a few YouTubers that have their copies of Baiman arrive, and the packaging does look good. It's just mine looks like it's gone a few rounds with Killer Croc and lost. Killer Croc being a Batman villain, in fact maybe there was a super villain team up. Although it seems the greatest arch nemesis of Crush Baiman is every delivery services. So here's Baiman straight out of the box, and straight away he's missing one of his hands on the figure. Now I opened the box really carefully. He does have all his spare sets of hands. I only really noticed this once. I got the figure out of the package to do the review. So we can see the alternative angry head sculpt and various sets of hands Baiman comes with. The batarangs and grappling hooks, a nice base at the back and a stand for Baiman to stand on. It's a little disappointing that Baiman is missing one of his hands out of the box, but to be honest it's not a deal breaker for me, as I will keep most of the hands in a bag anyway. So I can live with it. He's got a nice set of jazz hands and various gripping style hands, which I will display him with a set of. But it's a QC issue on my copy. Again, for me personally, it's not an issue, but I can understand how it makes the figure a bit incomplete. So come on, CT Toys do a little better with the inclusion of all the accessories. So that's a look at the crushed clamshell and the figure inside and all the included accessories. And this video is not for kids. And so first impressions out of the package. Hush Baiman is really good. The first thing, I was able to swap the heads really easily compared to CT Toys Gambit, so that's nice. And I have the Mafex blue and grey Hush Batman, and the cape on that guy is massive. Yet on Hush Baiman the cape is really nice and doesn't engulf the figure, and he poses really nicely and is great for some toy photography. Now when I did take Hush Baiman out of the package, the torso did disconnect at the valve joint, but it was able to pop back into place really easily, and we will get into all the articulation later. As you can see, I've got Baiman launching his grappling hook. He's ready to fight crime whenever it may strike. So if you're enjoying this video so far, please do feel free to smash that like button, comment and subscribe. And you can become a channel member if you like to access even more content. So like all CT Toys, if you missed the Mafex original Hush Batman in black and grey. This CT Toys Baiman is a completely worthy alternative. I think if you have a Mafex Hush Batman, of course, you may notice some difference. This is a $20 to $30 bootleg compared to an $80 Mafex figure. But what CT Toys can do for a fraction of the price really is impressive. And this might be your first video or first time considering a CT Toys figure. And I can honestly say, take the plunge and pick one up. You'll be really impressed with them. And I really like the pose I've got Baiman into here. So I'm going to go and take a photo, as I want this to be the thumbnail. And just like CT Toys Gambit being the same size as Mafex Gambit, Hush Baiman from CT Toys is a similar height to Hush Batman from Mafex. I do have the blue and grey Mafex Hush Batman in a tub, but I haven't got him out for this review. But you will see Hush Baiman compared to a few Batmans later on in the video. And I'll admit, I'm not the greatest action figure poser in the world, but Baiman is really easy to get into some fun dynamic poses, so someone who does toy photography regularly would find this guy really fun to pose and play. And like I say, I do have the Mafex blue and grey Hush Batman, and I find this guy easier and more fun to pose and play. Probably because the cape isn't as all-consuming and enveloping on the CT Toys black and grey version as the Mafex blue and grey version. And if you are wondering, I keep calling this figure Baiman because that's what CT Toys have called him to avoid any legal grey areas, shall we say. But we all know it's Hush Batman. So you are probably wondering what Hush Baiman might look like in your collection compared to other action figures in your collection. Well, let's do some comparisons and find out. And here's a question for you. Have you got a dedicated CT Toys shelf in your collection, or do you mix and match figures in your display? I mix and match figures, but I would be curious to know how you arrange your collection. Let me know in the comments below. So here is Hush Batman aka CT Toys Baiman, next to probably my favourite figure in my collection, G.I. Joe Classified Starduster. I never had this figure as a child, never even knew about it. Big Boa was always my favourite, but a Joe in a jetpack with a flight helmet and blacked out visor really appeals to me. I want more wacky and zany Joes like the armies of Cobra, by the way. This section of the video will be some fun comparisons of Baiman with other action figure lines and a sort of general chit-chat about the action figures I'm comparing Baiman to, like we are down the pub or having a coffee, just some pals meeting up and chatting action figures. If you're new to my videos, I try and make certain segments of review videos a bit chatty where I can, and this is one of those times. So here is Baiman next to a G.I. Joe classified figure, so you get a sense of scale and size between the two lines. Starduster is sort of channel mascot. Now, I really love him. He's the leader of the TAC Pack. Shout out to Big Will for that one. And I have a custom Big Boa you might have seen on previous videos. He's also a member of the TAC Pack. I'll add in a few members, or even better, at some point, I'll do a pick in the post section and maybe we can have a vote who should join the TAC Pack. We'll see. And here's Hush Baiman next to a Cosmic Legions figure. Vorga, I believe, is her name. And both Cosmic and Mythic Legions are just excellent figures, aren't they? Shout out to Michael Bring Toys to Work and Cloud Foxwell. And Trevor the 1-6 Shooter, who does photography for them. We have Infinite Legions now as well, which is a collaboration between the Four Horsemen, the creators of Mythic and Cosmic Legions and other companies or influencers. So far we have had collaborations with Glios and now Mr. Beast in Infinite Legions. Anyway, Cosmic Legions are great original characters that can go on space adventures with any space-based action figures in your collection. Although the aesthetic is different if you don't mind. You can mix them with Star Wars Black Series, there will be some height differences. Mythic Legions being a 7-inch line whilst Black Series being 6-inch, or Masterverse, or even Marvel Legends. So let me know, do you have any Cosmic Legions in your collection? So that's what Cosmic Legions look like next to CT Toys Hush Baiman. And here is Shredder as a Green Ranger from the now cancelled Power Rangers and TMNT line. This, in my opinion, was the best figure in that line. And so whilst we saw high-end paint apps with Cosmic Legions before, to more of a standard action figure. Although that's not to take anything away from this Hasbro release, it's a really good looking figure. Nice purples and greens and golds in the colour combination, and I think they have mixed the Green Ranger costume and Shredder the TMNT villain really well together in this mashup. So what's your thoughts on the Playmates Power Rangers? Let me know if you have any or if you're disappointed with them and feel the Lightning Collection was more of an adult collector friendly choice. So here is the Shredder Green Ranger facing off against Hush Baiman. They look like they are really to tango or flamenco together, or at least Baiman does in that pose. And Hush Baiman may need to take out the Baymobile or visit the Bai Cave when dealing with this next opponent, Anti-Vampire Spray at the ready. It's Marvel's Dracula in Marvel Legends form. Many thanks to Adam Batman Moran for this one, and thanks to Mikey Moonboots for the G.I. Joe Classified Starduster. He kindly gifted me the funds which allowed me to pick up Starduster at MCM in May. So yeah, I think a Batman Dracula battle would be fricking amazing. We have a Marvel versus DC crossover coming. And I do think Batman facing Dracula from Marvel could potentially be fascinating. Anyways, here's a Marvel Legends figure next to CT Toys Hush Baiman. And from Marvel Legends to Masterverse, here's Roboto from Masterverse. Now, Roboto was one of my favourite characters in Motu, so I'm very happy to have him in Masterverse. And I really like that Masterverse includes thigh cuts in the articulation. It's a small touch, but it's something I appreciate as it makes them have similar articulation points to Marvel Legends, G.I. Joe Classified, all that good stuff. So have you got any Masterverse in your collection? Are you interested or excited for the Mondo 200X line? Will you be picking up any Mattel 200X figures? Let me know in the comments below. And then of course, Batman had a team up with the Turtles in the comics. And here Baiman teams up with NECA Mummy Michelangelo. And this is a great figure, it's just pure fun. It doesn't take itself too seriously, and that's what action figures should be about. It's always nice to have 1/12 representations of characters from our childhood or nostalgia. But sometimes it's just nice to have cool or fun action figures that don't take themselves too seriously as well. And then, over from NECA TMNT Universal Monsters Mummy Mikey to Animal Warriors of the Kingdom. Here's the main hero character of the line, Pale. And man, these articulate so well. You can check out my review for these on the channel, and I'll leave a link to that video in the comments below. And again, a small thing I like about these that makes a big difference. They include thigh cuts. They are smooth as hell. And Sparrow Toys is the creator of these figures. And Sparrow have Ronin-style samurai on the way. And those will work so well in a diorama, display or toy photography with CT Toys Hush Baiman. So here you go. Here's a little sample of these type of figures next to CT Toys Baiman. And I mentioned that Animal Warriors of the Kingdom articulate so well, and that leads nicely on to looking at articulation on Hush Baiman. So the head can look down a decent amount, up not as much, left to right is fine. And as I mentioned, unlike Seat Toys Gambit, I can swap out the heads quite easily. Arms go out to even more than a T-pose. So great range there, double jointed elbows and wrists go round in a 360 degree motion. Great arm articulation in general. Butterfly joints which work well. The waist is on a ball hinge. It did pop off when I took Baiman out of the package, so I was unsure if there was a QC issue, but it popped back in no problem. Fairly decent range and crunch at the waist. Legs go out a good amount, and double jointed knees, ankle rockers and a toe hinge joint, which always make that extra bit of difference to a figure in terms of posing and balance. So basically all the articulation points that Mafex Hush Batman as you can expect on Hush Baiman. CT Toys do an excellent job of recreating Mafex figures for a fraction of the price. So as mentioned, that was the arm articulation. And now we are looking at the ball hinge at the waist and ab crunch. Like I mentioned earlier in the video, the great range of articulation and motion that is recreated from a Mafex figure on this CT Toys version allows for really dynamic posing quite easily. As I mentioned, I'm not the world's greatest action figure poser by any means, far from it. And I'm able to get Baiman into some simple dynamic poses quite easily, by the way. If you're enjoying this review and wondering where you can get your own copy of Hush Baiman, that hopefully doesn't arrive as Crush Baiman, I'll drop a link to CT Toys' official AliExpress store in the comments below. Using the word official around a third-party bootleg is ironic. However, this CT Toys figure is good enough to sit alongside any official figures in your collection. But I'll give my overall thoughts in the later closing parts of the video. So that's the articulation. As you can see, Hush Baiman moves and articulates a really good amount. And let's do some comparisons with other Batman figures in my collection that I have to hand. So here is the Mattel DC Multiverse Collect and Connect Long Halloween Batman. This was at the end of Mattel's run of DC figures when they were starting to get better and almost have something similar to Marvel Legends in terms of articulation. And on the other side of Baiman we have the McFarlane Toys, DC Multiverse, Dark Knight, Batman, who has thigh cuts to be able to ride a horse. I do wish Todd McFarlane gave all his DC Multiverse figures thigh cuts, but alas it wasn't to be. Mattel are getting the DC license back, so it will be interesting to see what figures and articulation and scale they do Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman in, etc. And hopefully we get some really deep cuts like Todd gave us, but that might be wishful thinking. I'd like a 6-inch scale Peacemaker and Vigilante from Mattel DC. But that will be some time down the line, no doubt. Anyway, here's some Batman figures for comparison with Hush Baiman. So that's a few generations of DC Batman next to Hush Baiman. And if you are enjoying this video, feel free to smash the like button, comment and subscribe. And feel free to become a channel member for even more content. And next, let's have a look at some extended members of the Batman family. Next to Hush Baiman, Mafex Jean Paul Valley Azrael as Batman in the Nightfall armor. This was probably my favourite Batman armor of the 90s. This is one I definitely hope Mattel make in 6-inch form, but I'm not sure if that will happen. And speaking of Mattel, here's the Mattel 6-inch Nightwing. Again from the Mattel line before it changed hands to Todd McFarlane. So, two great representations of DC characters from the Batman family, from different eras next to Hush Baiman. And then finally here's G.I. Joe classified Starduster alongside Hush Baiman. Once again, a massive thanks to Mikey Moonboots for this figure. I have two, and he really is a figure I can't put down. I'll have to put together a tack pack for reviews in these videos. Shout out to Dan Who and the Who crew that he includes in his reviews. Great idea. So what did you think of Hush Baiman? Have you picked up a copy yet? Would you like to see CT Toys tackle the blue and grey version of Hush Batman? Or any other Hush characters? A lot of people are asking for Hush Superman and Nightwing from CT Toys, so no doubt we will see those. Daredevil is the next upcoming release from CT Toys, and I do plan to get him to do a review on the channel. But let me know all your thoughts about this review in the comments below. Okay, so I think it's time for final thoughts on the CT Toys Hush Baiman figure. It's an excellent recreation of the Hush Batman in black and grey, which I believe has become really expensive on the aftermarket. It's understandable that picking up that Mafex figure will cost a lot, and times are tough with ever-rising costs. So this is a great alternative. If you can afford to support Mafex when they release figures, I say go for it. But sometimes that's not always possible, and there's so much to collect now that hard choices have to be made. So it depends on your stance on bootlegs, but this is a really solid recreation of the Mafex Hush Batman. Yes, my box arrived in a pretty beat-up state, and the figure was missing a fisted hand, and those things are disappointing. But despite that, I know this is an excellent figure, so I'm going to score Hush Baiman 8 out of 10. Perhaps it should get an even higher score, as there isn't even anything wrong with the figure at all. But the QC issue of the missing hand and figure coming out of the package disconnected at the waist, which I had to pop back in, quite easily deduct a few points in the overall score. So there you have it. So let me know, what DC figures would you like to see CT Toys do? This is CT Toys' first DC figure, I believe. And as usual, the quality is absolutely excellent for a very reasonable price. I mean, this guy is around the price of a Marvel Legend. And consider what you get for that price compared to a standard domestic figure. I hope that companies like CT Toys can make Mafex, or even domestic companies, think about what they offer us for the cost of what they charge us. With so many great companies making action figures at the moment, Jada Toys and Storm Arena come to mind. And that's just the official choices. Competition for our hard-earned money is higher than ever, so it's great to have options like CT Toys for figures that have become rare or hard to get. So do I recommend picking CT Toys' Hush Baiman up? Absolutely, without question, even if, like me, you have a Hush Batman from Mafex in your collection. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed this review. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I read all comments and respond to all of them. Has this inspired you to try CT Toys? Is there a figure Mafex has done that you might have missed out on that you are hoping CT Toys might recreate? Let me know in the comments below. Once again, feel free to smash the like button and comment. Thanks for watching. It really does help the channel, and I enjoy making these videos. Reviews on my channel are a fun alternative to the regular videos I do on 6-inch action figure news. Those videos always do well. Feel free to consider becoming a channel member for even more content. If you are enjoying what you see on the channel, and until next time, enjoy those flicks and figs. I am the Knight.